किंतु भगवान को कौन चाहता है? कोई चिंता करता है भगवान की? लोग अपने बाल बच्चों के लिए रोते हैं, परिवार के लिए रोते हैं, गरीबी के लिए रोते हैं, पैसों के लिए रोते हैं। कोई भगवान के लिए रोता है? हाँ? कोई नहीं रोता। अरे सरल भाव से रोकर उसे पुकारे तो सही, भगवान स्वयं उसे मिलने चले आते। हाँ, चल खा।
नरेन, ठाकुर का क्या आशीर्वाद मिला?
उसने कहा, हाँ, मैं उसे वैसे ही देख सकता हूँ जैसे मैं तुम्हें देख रहा हूँ। मानव मन की सघन अनुभूति ही उसका दर्शन करा सकती है। फिर उसे देखा भी जा सकता है और उसे बातें भी की जा सकती है, ठीक वैसे जैसे मैं तुमसे कर रहा हूं। लेकिन भगवान को चाहता कौन है? लोग रोते हैं अपने परिवार के लिए, अपने बच्चों के लिए, अपनी बीवी के लिए, अपनी गरीबी के लिए, लेकिन भगवान के लिए कोई रोता है? नहीं। यदि कोई सच्चे मन से भगवान के लिए रोए तो भगवान स्वयं ही चले आएंगे।
When Narendranath first came to Sri Ramakrishna, he saw where Sri Ramakrishna's mind dwelt. It was in such a transcendental realm that each of his moods, each of his bhavs would inflame the aspiring soul towards God. And you could see it in his eyes. Once Narendranath, as a young college student, was sitting near Sri Ramakrishna. And for those of you who have visited Dakshineshwar and seen that beautiful room on the banks of the Ganga, so a cool breeze was blowing. Narendranath is sitting there listening to the immortal words of the Master. Sri Ramakrishna, in the course of his conversation, talked about Advait Vedant, the non-dual Brahman, and the nature of that experience. He would talk only from experience. He was not expounding through some shastra, through some scripture. He was talking of his own experience. And he said that everything is only Brahman. It is God alone, Brahman alone that has become all this. There is just an appearance of name and form. And hence, for a devotee who has understood this nature of the Lord, for him everything is the Lord. Narendranath heard this, and then he came out of the room. And he was pondering over these words of the Master when he suddenly saw Hazra. Hazra was another a kind of devotee who lived in Dakshineshwar. He was also a kind of critic. He was a strange man. And when he looked at Narendranath, Narendranath said, "Do you know, I heard about the truth of non-dualism, Advait, today, Advait Vedant. And this doctrine is so strange. It says everything is God. You are God, I am God, Ghati Ishwar, Bati Ishwar." And they both started laughing, which means the cup is God, the jar is God, the water pot is God, everything is God. So how ridiculous is this idea? They said, and they started laughing. Sri Ramakrishna stepped out of his room and he said, "What are you all talking?" And he came close to Narendranath and touched him, not Hazra. Touched Narendranath's chest. And that one touch put Narendranath's mind into such a state of perception that he saw the all-pervading reality alone. He saw indeed everything is pure consciousness. What used to appear as an object is just a hazy something, a name and form, somehow superimposed on this reality of Brahman. He literally saw this. Not that all is God. God alone is. All is not. Name and form are insubstantial. Name and form do not actually exist. This was his experience. And this experience persisted for a long, long time. Even when he went home, on his way, a carriage is coming towards him. He did not understand where he ends and the carriage begins. Look at the experience. His sense of perception had totally changed. His limbs had become numb. He says, I did not feel any energy in my limbs. A different consciousness had altogether awakened in him. When he came home, his mother had laid out food for him. He saw that the plate, the food, his mother also, all of them were nothing but Brahman, pure consciousness. Everything else that was them is only hazy. Pure consciousness shining everywhere. He himself is that. There is no Narendranath. He goes to Cornwallis Square. There he sees the railing. He bangs his head on the railing to check if it is real. He sees it only as Brahman. So this state persisted for such a long time that he became convinced. Deep within him, he understood this is what Vedanta means when it says Brahman is the only reality. Brahma Satyam Jagad Mithya. So a complementary sense of the unreality of objects as they impinge upon the senses and the mind, the unreality of name and form as it impinges upon the senses of the mind naturally arose in him. As this experience gradually faded over time and became only a memory, he understood that these two are complementary experiences. When you understand the reality of God, Brahman, one consciousness alone, in a complementary sense, you understand that then what appeared as the world is obviously unreal. But Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. But this Jiva is nothing but this Brahman, actually. And that is why Jivahood is unreal. So it came to him as an experience. It changed his perception entirely by the magical touch of Sri Ramakrishna. It was not a thought out thing. It was not an intellectual construct. It was not an insight. It was an experience. He just dived into it and he remained with it. And at the end of it, he understood the grand truth of Advait Vedanta. And within 10 years' time, he would be speaking of this truth from platforms around the world, in Europe and America and India. And he became the greatest exponent of Advait Vedanta and yoga to the world because it was an experience with him. So this touch of Sri Ramakrishna could transform minds, could open different levels of perception. Just the touch. Look at the remarkable power of this personality. We can't even call him a personality. So Sri Ramakrishna, once Vivekananda said this later on, this was the remarkable power of this man, that he, as one molds articles out of clay, he would mold the human mind into whatever he wished it to be. He could change sanskars just like that, and he could grant the highest experiences just by a touch, by a look. This was the mind of Sri Ramakrishna. He dwelt in that realm of unitary consciousness, and with struggle, he came out of there, from that realm, just to give us the wisdom of that state. Our scriptures speak of this in so many ways. That is why Narendranath, as Vivekananda later on, he pointed out, without studying Sri Ramakrishna, one can never understand the real import of the Vedas, the Vedanta, Bhagavata and other scriptures. His life is a searchlight of infinite power thrown upon the entire mass of Indian religious thought. He was a living commentary to the Vedas and to their aim. This was Sri Ramakrishna. Our scriptures speak of it in various ways, the Upanishads especially. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. Everything is verily Brahman. Neha nanasti kinchana. There is no nana, there is no diversity, multiplicity. And then in the Chandogya Upanishad, you have Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. You are verily that Brahman. So all this comes alive when you read the life of Sri Ramakrishna.